Hello and welcome back. So we learned in chapter 26 the importance of joy and the importance not to be sad. Chapter 27, we learned the way to deal with sadness that comes from negative thoughts during the regular daily things which are not holy. And now in chapter 28, we're going to learn about how one should deal with negative thoughts that come while serving God. Perek Chavchet, chapter 28, or Koach, which means strength. ואפילו אם נופלים לו היכורי תאוות ושייך מחשבות זרות. בשעת העבודה בתורה בתפילה בכוונה. עליה שתבא להן אליה שיחתת מן כרגע. And he says over here, even if thoughts come to him about desires and all kind of other foreign thoughts, machshavot zarot, which means foreign thoughts, during the time of his serving God, which would be during Torah learning, or during prayer with intention. Prayer should be with intention. He should not focus on them whatsoever, and instead divert his mind from them immediately. Now, first of all, I want to say that the same way when one's serving God, they should remove their mind from the negative thoughts. So too, when one is doing daily activities, one should also remove their thoughts from it, as we learned in the last chapter. So what's the difference? The difference when one's not serving God and one is serving God. One is not serving God, which is during the mundane things. And he has a negative thought, he basically has an opportunity to do something holy. Like we learned in the last chapter, when one diverts his attention from those thoughts, he's doing a mitzvah. So he's becoming holy. Now, we're talking about when he's already in a holy setting. He's in a holy atmosphere. He's doing a holy thing. He's learning Torah. He's praying. And then comes a negative thought to kind of drag him down and pull him out of that holiness. Then, as well, one should divert his attention from that thought. And he has the power, really. And we actually established this in chapter 14, I believe. Look it up over there. That everyone has the power to not think about something. For sure, to start thinking about another thing. As we know that it's not possible for someone to think two thoughts at the same time. So if one has a negative thought and then they start thinking about something else, then they won't be able to think about the negative thought. That's one strategy. But not only that, even just to stop thinking about something, one has the power to push away the thought, as we learned before. It depends on the will. It depends on someone's will. Okay. And he should not be foolish to deal with elevating the emotions of this foreign thought. That means that it's spoken about in other places, like in the works of the Baal Shem Tov, of the Maggid of Mizrich, and so on, that you have a concept of actually elevating a foreign thought, which essentially would mean what someone would do if they would have a negative thought, is they would essentially think about what that thought and what that desire what the desire is. Let's say it's for something, and or a thought that's pushing something away. That would be like chesed and gvura. Okay, so essentially what they would do is they would say, "Oh, you have a love for something that's bad. Let's dig deeper. Maybe really, if you want this thing that's so bad, then you should really want good, because that's much greater." And by doing that kind of inspection about this foreign thought, they would actually elevate it. A foreign thought is actually like a mask. It's a negative thing that's masking something positive within. So what this service is removing the negative from the foreign thought and elevating the positive that's in it. However, the Tanya says that one should not be a fool to do that. Because, to do that, you have to be a tzaddik. That is only applicable to a perfect person, which we said before does not have any negative emotions. And where do tzaddikim get foreign thoughts from? Not from themselves, from other people. They can somehow think thoughts that other people think. They can read other people's thoughts. And by reading another person's thought that is a bad thought, a foreign thought, then they would elevate it. However, a regular person that's not a tzaddik, which is basically 99.9% of the population, I'm assuming, that the thought that he gets, the foreign thought, is from himself, from the bad that's in his heart, in the left ventricle. How in the world will he be able to do that, to accomplish elevating that foreign thought? He will be trying to elevate something higher, to elevate the thought to a higher place, while he himself is connected to the bottom, while he himself is connected to that negative thing. In other words, it's not like he's higher than the negative thought. He's not. The negative thought came from him. So that means that he is low. He is on the place of the negative thought. So he can't bring something up there if he's down here. And that's exactly what we're saying. And therefore, that service of elevating foreign thoughts only applies to tzaddikim, but not to someone else. And as we'll actually see later on in this chapter, that the expression, which is I think a famous expression, that someone who deals with dirty things ends up becoming dirty. That's the same thing over here. With him trying to deal with his foreign thoughts, he's just going to end up becoming dirty and negative. However, he should not become depressed and sad while he's trying to serve God. At which point in time one has to have great joy. As I'm adding by myself, it says in the verse, "Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha," serve God with joy. When one is learning Torah or praying, he has to have great joy. And he definitely shouldn't get sad because he's getting these thoughts. And as we're going to explain now, instead, on the contrary, not only should he not get sad, but he should become stronger and get more strength, with all of his strength, in the intention of his prayer, with great joy and happiness. So not only should he not get sad, he should be happy and become strengthened. The foreign thought should make him feel stronger. Besumo elibo, ki nefilat hamachshava zara im aklipa shebechalal hasmoli. Ha'osa milchama babenoni im nefesh elohit shebo. Why? This is what you should consider. This is what this person who has this problem should consider. That the foreign thought that comes is actually from the evil in the left side of his heart, which wages war in him, or as he says, in the Beinoni, which is your average, Beinoni is what everyone should strive to be, with the left side of the heart, wages war with the godly soul, as we explained in chapter 9. Make sure to see that. So, right, that foreign thought he's getting is 100% from the left side of his heart. Okay. What should he consider then? And the famous known way of people that fight or wrestle together, when one becomes stronger, then the other one strengthens himself also with all of his strength. Okay, that is the way people fight. If one of them gives a lot of strength, then the other one will try his hardest and put all of his strength into it as well. Right? Because otherwise he's going to lose the battle. ולכן, כשנפש האלוהית מתאמצת ומתגברת להתפלל, אז גם הקליפה מתגברת כנגדה לבלבלה ולהפילה במחשבות הזרות שלה. And therefore, one should consider that when the godly soul becomes strong to pray, then also the evil opposite that becomes strong to confuse it and to cause it to give into its foreign thoughts. That means, in other words, to summarize, that when one tries very hard to focus during prayer, then what happens is the evil in their heart tries to fight back and tries extra hard to confuse you and gives you more foreign thoughts and negative thoughts than you're used to. I mean, I definitely have experienced this. I don't know about you, but during prayer, that's probably the time that I have the most foreign thoughts. Throughout the rest of the day, foreign thoughts, here and there maybe. During prayer, I can't focus on a word that I'm praying. And it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Because it shows that my prayer is good. And because my prayer is good, therefore, my evil inclination is working extra hard to get me mixed up. And that is what should actually make you happy. ולא כטעות העולם שטועם להוכיח בנפילת המחשב הזרה מכלל שאין תפילתם כלום, שלא יתפלל כחי ואנחנו היינו נופלים במחשבות זרות. And not like the mistake of the world that mistakenly try to prove that the foreign thoughts mean that their prayer is worthless, and they claim that if one would pray properly, then the foreign thoughts wouldn't bother him. Okay? That is, what logically makes sense if you think about it. If I'm getting foreign thoughts, that means my prayer is no good. So how do you counteract that argument? How do you counter that argument? אם הייתה נפש אחת לבדה, היא המתפללת והיא המחשבת ומאחרת המחשבות הזרות. That would be true, says the Tanya, if there was only one soul that is praying, and that one single soul is the one that's thinking these foreign thoughts. Then that would be true. if that one soul would pray and get foreign thoughts, that means that their prayer is nothing. Because if they prayed properly, then that one soul wouldn't get any foreign thoughts, 100%. However, he says over here that is not the case. The truth is not like that. The real truth is that there's two souls that are fighting with each other in one's mind, in a person's mind. Each one desires to rule over the person and that the mind be filled with it. וכל הילכוכי Torah ויראת שמיים מנפש האלוהית וכל מילי דעלמא מנפש הבהמית רק שהאלוהית מלובשת בה. So now here is the determining factor to tell you which thoughts are from the godly soul and which thoughts are for the animal soul. He says, all thoughts of Torah and fear of heaven come from the godly soul. And any worldly things come from the animal soul. And it's just that the godly soul is enclosed in the animal soul. Meaning, I think that means, as we said in chapter 24, that the godly soul is trapped in the animal soul. So even when the animal soul is doing something bad, the godly soul is there. It just can't express itself. Okay. But regardless, the point over here is that the fact that one is getting foreign thoughts means that they're having a good prayer, because it's a battle. And if the godly soul is doing well, then that means that the animal soul is going to strengthen to fight back. And as a matter of fact, if you're not having foreign thoughts during your prayer, and you're not a tzaddik, that means that your prayer is not good. That's exactly what he's saying, if I understand correctly. The fact, if you're not having any foreign thoughts, then your animal soul is not fighting because it doesn't have any need to fight, because the godly soul isn't trying. If the godly soul is doing well, then the animal soul will fight back. And I want to point out, this is actually very similar to the story of Rivka, when she was pregnant. She had a problem that was bothering her. That was, as we all know the story, the famous story, she would pass by a place of idol worship. Then the baby inside of her would kick. And when she would pass by a synagogue, then the baby inside of her would kick. So she thought to herself, this is problematic. I have one baby inside of me, and it's clearly a very insecure maybe baby. It doesn't know what's good or what's bad. I go to a place that's holy, it's kicking. I go to a place that's bad, it's kicking. And when she went to get advice, the answer was that you don't have one baby inside of you. And therefore it's okay. You should be relaxed. There's two babies inside of you. You have Yaakov and you have Esav. It's the same thing over here. When you're praying and you're getting foreign thoughts, you're trying so hard to do good and you're getting these foreign thoughts. Don't be let down. Don't be like, oh, what's going on over here? It's confusing. You don't have one soul inside of you. You have two souls inside of you. The godly soul is trying hard to pray, and the animal soul is trying hard to stop that prayer. Adam hamitpalel bekavana ve'omed lenegdo ovid gilulim or achel rasha u'matziach u'medabech imo kedei lebalbelo. And to give an example of how one should deal with this situation is somebody praying very focused during that prayer, and standing right next to him, he has I think it means a Gentile, a wicked person that is trying to speak and communicate with him on purpose, in order to confuse him and to mess up his prayer, right? He's trying to pray. Guy next to him is talking to him in order to try to get him to stop his prayer, to stop focusing. So, how should you go upon that situation? Some would say, oh, he's bothering me, I'm trying to pray. Try to talk to him, try to make him understand, hey, I'm trying to pray, it's not nice, and so on. But that is not the way, as he says over here. This is for sure the correct advice. Not to answer him anything good and not anything bad, and to be and pretend like he is deaf and not hearing. In other words, he should ignore him. That is the way to deal with that. And to fulfill what it says in the verse, don't answer a fool in his foolishness, pentish v'lo gamata, lest you become like him as well. So that is the example. What is the practical application of that example? He so too should not answer at all any sort of answer to the foreign thought in his mind. And as we said before, famous quote, one who wrestles with a dirty person becomes dirty himself. Yes, you need garbage men to clean up garbage in the city, but they become dirty too. By dealing with something dirty, you become dirty. Instead, he should be as though he doesn't know and he doesn't hear the foreign thoughts that came to him, and remove them from his mind. And instead, increase the strength of his focus. Now, that is what you should definitely do. However, it's not always so easy. And that's what he says over here. If it really is difficult for him to remove those thoughts from his mind, because they are bothering his mind very, very much, and with a lot of strength, so no matter what he does, the foreign thoughts are just attacking him. They're attacking him on all sides. He's overcome by these thoughts. I mean, it sounds like a nice theoretical situation, but practically it's very scary. He's trying to focus, and he's really trying to do what the Tanya says. He's listening to the advice, he's ignoring, but it doesn't leave him alone. Then what should he do? What's the last resort that we Jewish people follow? That's what he says over here. Azayashbil nafsho laHashem, v'yitchanan lo yitbachich b'machshavto, lechachem alav b'chachamav hamerubim, kerachamav al banim hanimshachim imocho. He should humble himself in front of Hashem, in front of God, and pray to God in his mind to have mercy on him with his great mercy, like the mercy of a father on his children that come from his thoughts. As we explained in chapter 2, the child of a child comes from their father's thought. We explain how that works there. See chapter 2. וככה ירחם השם על נפשו הנמשכת ומיתו יתברך להצילה ממים הזדונים ולמענו יעשה כחלק הוויה ממש עמו. So that's the same way a father has mercy over his children. May God have mercy on his soul, which refers to his godly soul, as we mentioned in chapter 2, that comes from Hashem. And it is like a child that comes from a father. To save it, save the godly soul from the sinful waters. I believe that's what that means. And he should do it for God because a piece of God is literally with him. In other words, even if somebody's not worthy, they should pray to God not to do it for themselves, for a selfish reason. Don't look, God, if I'm worthy or not. Do it for you, he should say to God, or think at least in his thoughts, because I have a piece of you inside of me. So if I have a piece of you inside of me, you're not doing it for me, you're doing it for you. You're doing it for the piece of you that's here, that's inside of me. An alternative interpretation that I've heard is that because one has a piece of God inside of him, therefore God will for sure listen to him. That is the reason for God's listening. So at the end of the day option, after you've tried all options and nothing works, we have no one on who to rely on other than our Father in heaven. And we should pray to God to help us with these thoughts and help us focus in our prayer. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.